Hey guys, Nuan here with Movie Slinger Reviews. Today we're gonna talk about Spider-Man Far From Home, directed by John Watts. This movie takes place a few months after Avengers Endgame, so I hope you guys watched that already because a big part of Far From Home is dealing with the aftermath of Endgame. So spoiler warning. Peter Parker is trying desperately to get back to his normal school life and just be a regular teenager for a while. His school organizes a field trip to Europe and he's planning a way to tell MJ about his feelings. He gets a call from Nick Fury which he ignores, and away they go to Europe. But Peter just can't catch a break. His superhero responsibilities come knocking when they run into these giant elemental beings. But fortunately, there's this dude called Mysterio who knows how to stop them, and he seems like a nice guy too. So Peter is forced to put aside his holiday plans and work with Mysterio to put a stop to these elementals. Remember when a bunch of people complained about Endgame that the Avengers were wrong to reverse the snap because it would be confusing? You have people being resurrected but didn't grow old, the survivors would be the same age, some survivors would have moved on. This movie shows that confusion. The filmmakers addressed it, so people who complained, it's time for you to shut up now. The resurrection event is referred to as the blip. The world is still trying to make sense of that, and with Tony Stark and Captain America gone, people are looking for a new Avenger to look up to. Many are now turning to Spider-Man to take Tony's place. These expectations and the huge responsibility of being an Avenger is now resting on Peter's shoulders, and he's finding it very difficult to balance that with his personal life. Peter Parker's struggle to find this balance is a quintessential element of a Spider-Man story. The writers really show that they understand that. It's also kind of ironic that being an Avenger is what Peter wanted in the previous movie. Now he's finally made it, but he's not ready to handle the pressure yet. On top of that, he's also missing his Uncle Tony. Peter is starting to doubt why Tony picked him to be an Avenger. Tom Holland gives a great performance. There's an emotional scene with Happy where he starts to break down and cry as they talk about what Tony wanted for him. All these doubts and pressure means that he's gonna be looking for somebody to look up to. Then this Mysterio dude shows up. Jake Gyllenhaal is awesome as Quentin Beck, aka Mysterio. People start geeking out when he appears because he's the hero that the world wanted in the absence of Tony Stark. And I love how he comes in and fills that void, not just for Peter on a personal level, but for the entire world as well. There's some great scenes where Beck and Peter talk about their superhero problems. Peter finds Beck to be relatable and naturally gravitates towards him and starts trusting him. It's actually kind of cute. I don't want to spoil anything, but I just want to say that I loved how the filmmakers portrayed Mysterio's abilities, his costume, and his backstory. It's brilliant. It ties up really well with established lore in the MCU, and every single word that comes out of Beck's mouth becomes comedy gold when you realize who's actually writing it and why he's saying it. My only issue here is that the filmmakers relied on two extremely lazy storytelling methods to explain Mysterio's abilities: heavy exposition and annoying use of flashbacks. It's completely unnecessary because later on we can clearly see how the abilities work. If you're going to show it later anyway, why bother with an explanation? It's not quantum physics, and I'm sure the majority of the audience could have figured it out. Zendaya is really good as MJ. She's got the right kind of chemistry with Tom Holland. They have that breathless and slightly awkward way of expressing their feelings that high school kids have. It's really cute. There's also this guy hitting on MJ, so another thing that's adding to Peter's problems. Ned is there and he's funny, but my favorite out of Peter's school friends is Flash Thompson, played by Tony Revolori. It's hilarious to see him geek out about Spider-Man but still make fun of Peter. Jon Favreau plays Happy. He's got some great scenes with Peter, and it's really funny to see Peter react to Happy's interactions with Aunt May. I still don't like Aunt May though. She contributes absolutely nothing to this story. Let's talk about the action. The majority of action scenes in this movie are just Spider-Man and Mysterio fighting giant CGI monsters. It doesn't feel like it's really happening. Even the camera work doesn't feel real. It's mostly a CG camera flying through the CG action. These scenes are boring to look at. It's obviously fake and therefore not exciting to watch. However, there was one chase sequence on the school bus which was really cool because it mixed the action with humor really well. There's also the final boss fight inside this corridor where Spider-Man has to use all of his abilities and dodge bullets. Visually, it doesn't look as good as the Spidey Goblin fight from the Sam Raimi film, which surprisingly still looks amazing to this day. The corridor fight obviously looks like CGI, but it was still fun and exciting to watch. Conclusion: Tom Holland gave a great performance and Jake Gyllenhaal was really good. The supporting cast did a great job to add humor, which made sure there wasn't a dull moment in this movie. It's a good Spider-Man story and it makes you root for Peter Parker to find his place in a world that no longer has Tony Stark to fix its problems. The scene where Peter is at Tony's workbench was the perfect way to show he's not Tony but is his own man. Also, the song that plays during this scene brought a big smile to my face. I'm gonna give Spider-Man Far From Home an 8 out of 10. The action could have been better and I wish they didn't rely too much on lazy exposition and flashbacks, but I enjoyed this a lot more than Spider-Man Homecoming. It's one of the better Spider-Man movies and I can easily recommend you to watch this in a movie theater right now. There's a lot of potential spoilers, so don't wait too long to watch this. Also remember, there's one mid-credit scene and one post-credit scene, so wait for both because they're both awesome and you don't want to miss them. So there you have it. Have you watched Far From Home and what did you think about it? Where does it rank among your favorite Spider-Man films? Please let me know in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe. Movie Slinger out.